Let's talk about collected editions. Hey, so let's talk about collected editions. So, most of your comic books these days are in, they're usually about a 6-issue story, so that those stories can be collected in what's called a trade paperback, right? And so some people will only collect trade paperback collected editions of the stories, whereas people like myself, I prefer single issues. But as you can tell, I've got some collected editions behind me. I like a good collected edition as well. So the main thing that I wanted to talk about today was about Marvel has an Epic collection, and they also have omnibuses. And so I kind of wanted to talk about the pros and cons of each. That way we can maybe help you make a good decision on what's best for you. So for Christmas one year, my brother got me the Age of Apocalypse Omnibus. And man, I love this thing. It's super cool. It's hardback. It's very nice presentation. It's just high quality stuff. Like just glossy paper. It is good stuff. Look at that spine. However, as cool as it is very expensive. There's a reason that I got it for Christmas, because I did not want to pay what it costs. I'm pretty sure you got a good deal on it. Sometimes Amazon will have really good deals on them, but I love this book. It's very cool, and I'm glad that I have the omnibus of it. I don't have a lot of omnibuses. Omnibusi? I don't know what the plural is of that. But so I don't have many of these. I've got this one. I've got the Cable and Deadpool omnibus. And I've got, my wife got me volume 1 of Batman Golden Age, which is super dope. I will be getting more of these Golden Age omnibuses because I love these things. These things are super cool. So what determines if I will get an omnibus or not? One is price. I'm not going to pay a ridiculous amount of money for an omnibus. 2 is, so far the omnibuses that I have, I've got this one, which collects all of the Age of Apocalypse storyline, which is like 50 comic books, right? So it is all 50 issues, or however many there are, of the Age of Apocalypse story in this omnibus. So if I were to just get the trade paperback of it, you're not going to get them all in one spot. You're going to have like 5 or 6 trade paperbacks of it. And you know, I'm not about that. To get one story, if I can get it all in one place, I'm going to do it. So if I can get the whole thing in an omnibus, then chances are I'm going to get the omnibus. I will say, to me, the biggest con about the omnibus, after the price tag on it, is the weight of it. This bad boy weighs a little over 6 pounds. And that's not a lot, right? And you're like, 6 pounds? Psh, I bench twice that much, right? But when you're sitting here and you're reading it, holding it in your hand, after a while, your wrist kind of starts to hurt. So you got to kind of switch wrists for a while, and then you're switching back and forth. Unless you're just sitting with it laying down on a table and you're looking at it. But when you're at the early stages of the book, it's not so convenient to do that. But so the sheer vastness of an omnibus kind of works against it, in my opinion. But like I said, the pros to it is this is the whole thing. It's all one book right here, and you're done. So Epic Collection. Marvel has these Epic Collection volumes, right? And so a good example is Amazing Spider-Man. So I could either buy omnibuses of the Amazing Spider-Man and collect a few omnibuses and have, 200 issues of Amazing Spider-Man and spend probably about $100 a pop. But they have the same exact thing in the Epic Collection, right? And whereas the omnibus weighs over 6 pounds, this weighs almost 2 pounds. A lot more convenient to hold and read. You're also not as worried about messing it up as much because it's not as high quality as that. I mean, it's still high quality. This is a very high quality book, but there's a difference to it. This is all of the Iron Fist stuff it's volume 1 of Iron Fist. It's 1974 through 1977. It contains all of his Marvel premiere issues. It contains his first volume of his comic book, all 15 issues of that, and it contains 2 Marvel team-up issues with him in it. So all that Silver Age Iron Fist stuff is right here. And this was like $25-30. And it's super cool. I love it very much. And I would prefer this over an omnibus that collected more Iron Fist stories, because this is all of that Iron Fist era, right? Now they have the Power Man and Iron Fist Epic Collection as well, but I'm going to hold out on those. I think I'm going to collect those in single issue format. So cost is one thing. Maybe I don't want to spend $100 on an omnibus. So Amazing Spider-Man, back to that. So maybe I don't want to spend $100 on 50 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, but maybe I will spend $25 to $30 on like 30-40 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. And then when I'm done, I can just buy the next one and be in line. So it's kind of like, it's obviously it's personal preference. What do you prefer? Do you prefer having a smaller amount at one time to read, or do you prefer to get a big boy and lug it around with you and stuff like? And that's another thing. Like sometimes if I go eat at a restaurant, which isn't super often by myself, but if I go eat at a restaurant, sometimes I want to take a comic with me to read, and I'm not going to take a big omnibus with me to read. It's too heavy, it's too bulky, but I would definitely take something like this. I've taken this to read while I get my car worked on and stuff. Like it's not a big deal for me to carry that around, but to carry this around, I don't know. I don't like doing that too much, So cost is a big factor to me. Can I afford it right now? Which version can I afford? Which is more convenient for me? I didn't really know until I owned an omnibus, and like I said, Age of Apocalypse was the first omnibus that I got, and when I got it, I loved it, and I still love it. I love that thing. It's awesome. But it is cumbersome. It's big. But these Epic Collections, they are so comfortable to read. And they're thicker than your typical trade paperback. This is a lot of content. And like I said, it's very high quality stuff. Very well done. So, that's the big issues, and that's the big pros and cons for me for an omnibus versus a trade paperback, particularly Epic Collections. But like I said, it's cool. You can get Amazing Spider-Man run, the Stan Lee stuff in an omnibus or multiple Epic Collections. The same thing with Captain America. You can get an omnibus or a couple trades. Fantastic Four, all that stuff. One thing that I will say about Marvel's omnibuses versus the Epic Collection, so it's not in this one. So in the Epic Collections, they do not contain the letters pages. In the omnibuses, they will reprint the letters pages in there. So if you care about like old letters pages and reading through those, then that's another reason that you would want to get an omnibus. I know for a fact that the old Fantastic Four omnibuses, because my brother has those, I know that they have the letters pages in there, and that's something that's super cool. But the trade paperbacks, to my knowledge, they do not have that. Let me check real quick. This Captain America one, just to be sure. And no, there's no letters pages in this Captain America Epic Collection. But I mean, look at that. Super cool. Super convenient to read. And with the Epic Collections, they also will break them down in era as well. And so this is the coming of the Falcon. And so this is when the Falcon first shows up in the first Falcon stories. But they'll also break it down by writer and artist, creative team. And so Epic Collections are really cool. Epic Collections, Marvel's trade paperbacks have come a long way from the old Essentials days where it was just the old stories reprinted in black and white. You know, you could get them and read them and you could enjoy the story, but without that colored art, it's not the same. So it's cool that we have multiple places, multiple options when it comes to collecting these classic stories that maybe you don't want to shell out $200 for the single issue to read it. I'm not about that. So that's pretty much the pros and cons of an omnibus versus an Epic Collection or a trade paperback. Quantity of content, how many issues you get in one lump sum. And you know, for me personally, I like to collect. I like it when I can get the whole volume in there in one book. If I can do that, I'm gonna go with an omnibus. If I can't do that, I'm more likely to hit up an Epic Collection. So what do you think? Do you prefer omnibuses? Do you prefer hardbacks? What do you like? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, take it easy.